training. I got into fibre optics a long, long time ago. I've got the grey hair, these are the other looking ones. I got into fibre optics back in 1981, so I've actually been in the game for a long time. I was basically, I run research groups at universities. I ran research groups, set up and ran the research group at fibre optics at Sydney University, the OPC, and Australian Photonics CRC. I was one of the founders of that. I did a startup in '95 called Index, which was bought by JX Uniphase in 1997. It was actually based just down the road here in Byfield Street, North Ryde. We grew that to about 300 people, doing about 100 million a year before the crash came. We went back down to nothing in about 18 months. That was an interesting experience. The reason that we got started into Engana, we actually started it in 2001, which was really the trough of the crash. And it was really based not on technology. Existing technology startup, people think that startups have got big technology. The real thing, the real differentiator about Engana was that it was not a technology-driven startup. It was driven by a market opportunity. We've been working in sort of photonic technologies and photonics for, I've been in there for 20 years. So I have a pretty good view of the market. I guess I'm much more of a market person than a technology person. And back in 2001, there was an opportunity, because a lot of people were getting laid off, to pull together a really good team to address a market opportunity that basically we could see happening 4 to 5 years down the track. We literally formed Engana, sitting around the guys at the kitchen table saying, if we started with a blank sheet of paper, where is the market for optical communications going to be 5 to 10 years from now? Where is the opportunity that we can address? And we identified this technology, which is called reconfigurable optical networks. Basically, you can change the layout of a network on the fly rather than having just to build it out and then hope you've got the connections in the right place. The market opportunity is basically network planning. Telcos used to love planning networks because networks used to grow nicely, incrementally, 7% a year forever. But the problem these days is that the demand and the traffic flows are not near as predictable as they have been in the past. Particularly the last 18 months with the advent of streaming videos, large amounts of streaming videos, the places where traffic is coming from and going to are changing much more rapidly.
So is it just traffic flows, or also sort of quality of service issues?
There is quality of service.
Yeah,
there is quality issues. Basically, you don't provide enough bandwidth, the quality drops down because you start having partition across two users. So the bandwidth per user drops. But it's really this ability to put a network out and then reconfigure that network as you go. So instead of having to send a guy with a truck to just literally plug things around, you can just sort of sit with a keyboard and just reconfigure it.
So it's you who's responsible for all Telstra's redundancies from
Possibly
in the lead up to an election.
So that's how we started Engana. It wasn't a technology driven, so there was no technology in Engana. We didn't even know what product we were going to make, or what technology platform it was going to be, or anything else other than that was the market that we had. And we've got a bunch of really very bright guys around. That's the real trick for success, by the way, being a startup, is to surround yourself with the best people you can possibly find, preferably ones who know a lot more than you do, which in my case is hard. So there are really some fantastic guys around us, and that was one of the reasons I actually did it, because I swore I'd never do another startup after this one, because it was so painful, both of them and closed it. But the chance to work with this particular bunch of guys that we got was just too good to turn down. And we basically then set about, okay, this is the market we're going to go to, it's 5 years out. What have we got to do to get there? What sort of products, what sort of product roadmap and strategy have we got to have? The good thing is we knew all the customers because we sold to all of the potential customers at the time.
So that was a sort of critical thing for yourself, having that existing relationship, getting to the market with what comes.
It was more being able to get the input from them as to what they wanted.
Okay.
I think Carl was talking a little bit about that from an Intel perspective. Was the fact that we could go to the Siennas or the Lucas of this world and say, no, this is what we're doing, is this the sort of thing you want? And they could come back and say, yes, no, change this, make that. Sure. So we started off without a product, without a technology, just a sort of roadmap of where we wanted to be. And then the question is, how do we fund that? Well, we all had our, people had their redundancy money from the crash. A couple of people made some decent money out of it, so they put some money into it. And we basically funded it ourselves for the first 15 months. Hired a couple of engineers and management team basically worked for now for 15 months. And the trick then was trying to find VCs to invest in these things. We needed about 5 million the first round, then 5 to 10 of the Series B. It's another important point. Plan your Series B before you've got your Series A, so that nobody gets surprised. So we basically then thought, how do we find VCs? Now, there are thousands of them around, easy to get hold of. The trick was to get and they all know the optics space backwards. They're all experts in photonics. So the trick is actually to find VCs in their natural habitat, which is bar. So I actually went up to the annual AVCAL meeting, the Australian Venture Capital Association meeting up in the Gold Coast.
That's all right, isn't it?
That's right. And I parked myself, they had this wonderful thing, it was Friday night reception, I think, or the first night reception, which was sponsored by Deutsche Bank, I think, at the time. And basically they put out as much sort of oysters and shellfish as you could eat, and three bottles of red. So I sort of positioned myself between the bar and the oyster stand. Basically talk to anybody who came past, which is where I met Carl, which is where I met Neil, which is where I met Deutsche Bank, our other investors. Met them all at that point, basically carrying a glass of wine and plates of oysters. So they were in a really good mood, very receptive. And that was the start of a beautiful relationship.